YouTube, live on Twitter, and live. No, not good. Okay.
Did you delete it?
Nope.
Hold on. I'm sorry if I... No.
Wait, make sure it's not this one. Never mind, leave it for now.
56 seconds. Yeah. The broadcast is not available, it says. So I'm guessing it is this one.
There you go.
Are we live? Are people watching us?
No, like only on
Fumble?
YouTube.
Only on YouTube. Okay. Only those, 7 YouTube subscribers. Who was the guy that we had in the beginning? We always refer to Josh, right? Josh.
Yeah,
Our
Josh
one listener,
James.
Josh. Josh, James, and Jim. Hey guys, we're about to get started. We're live on Facebook, the Two Nice Jewish Boys podcast page. We're live on Arutz Sheva. Yeah?
Not yet. We'll be
Not
live
now.
in Arutz
Not
Sheva
yet.
in
We
5,
will in a minute.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
Jewish Journal?
Yes.
We're live on Jewish Journal. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. Naor, you're like the Wizard of Oz, man.
How do they do that?
How does he do it? How is it possible?
To be live.
Okay, guys. So
Hello.
we're wrapping up 2019 with a special end of the year episode today. It's been a great year. We've had a lot of
Yeah.
good guests.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll talk about some
yeah.
2NJB stats later on.
We'll talk about some stats. We'll talk about other stuff. We'll maybe revisit a few episodes and some topics we discussed.
Just introduce us to the audience.
Hey guys, so this is the Two Nice Jewish Boys podcast. You can find us anywhere you listen to your podcast. So you can check us out on Spotify, on iTunes, on SoundCloud, wherever you go. We also have a website, 2njb.com.
Want to play the intro?
Yeah, and this is our intro.
Here we go. And I'm Naor Menninger, and you're listening to Two Nice Jewish Boys. When I go to
This
the
podcast is made in
IsraelNationalNews.com
collaboration with the
Arutz
Jewish
Sheva
Journal.
feed
Check
and
them out at jewishjournal.com.
get some comments.
Also in collaboration with Arutz Sheva, IsraelNationalNews.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, visit 2njb.com/.
Not sure if we're live on Twitter or not. It's pretty confusing. Are we? Aren't we? Twitter? Twitter?
Okay.
Why Twitter? Why aren't we live on Twitter?
So
Hi, everyone.
we're back. All right.
Yes.
So basically, we're live everywhere on all platforms.
Essentially.
Any platform that ever existed, you could find us.
Yeah.
Somewhere there at the bottom of the barrel.
We have 45 people on
Yeah.
Facebook.
So we're also on Facebook, guys, and on YouTube. So if you leave comments, we'll try and get to them. If you have questions or whatever, give us a shout out.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's get
I
to
don't
it,
have
man.
the lineup though.
I got it right here. You can take it.
So, Aiden got engaged, guys. It happened.
Nice way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got engaged. It happened.
To whom?
To whom? don't ask tough questions. All right, man. Well, you don't believe me? You've met her.
No, I know.
You met her
Just,
once.
The audience, the
No, I'm
listeners
kidding.
don't know.
Noah knows her well. Sharon is my future wife, the most amazing woman on earth, and
Except your mom, maybe.
that's a tough one. No comment. But yeah, we got engaged. I think it was last Friday. I popped the question at home.
How did you do it?
I did it modestly. I'm not a guy to put on like a big show. I wasn't gonna get a hot air balloon. And
Did you brush your teeth at least before you did it?
No, so that was my strategy. I brushed my teeth, but I didn't let her brush her teeth.
Because it was first thing, right?
Yeah, I didn't want her to. I wanted her to kind of have
Natural.
morning breath and be kind of groggy and gross and like feel bad about
Mhm.
herself, so that her prospects seemed like not so good. And then,
That's
when I popped the question, I would seem like, oh, this is a great prospect. She'd say yes, brush her teeth, realize the horrible mistake she's made, but it's too late.
that's a solid plan.
It was romantic. No, but it was nice. It was nice. I don't know. I could tell you about it, but I kind of feel like it's
It's your moment.
I had a
So-
buddy who kind of put it like he did it in a big park with like everybody around, and to each his own, but like it's not my style.
Right.
It's a private moment. But we got engaged. We're happy. Now starts the headache of like figuring out what the hell
Wedding
to
in
do.
Israel. It's like I don't
Oh,
know what's going
man.
on in the States,
Yeah.
but in Israel, I would say it's a 3-4 months of almost a full-time job.
that's the low end of the time scale.
But that's when it's a
at
full-time
least
job.
3-4 months. It can be up to some people take a year and a
But
half to do it.
not full-time. The
Not
first
full-time,
6
no.
months it's part-time, and then in the last 3 or 4 months it's full-time job.
But it's craziness. I don't know the American listeners. I mean, there's
How
all
do they
kinds
do it
of,
in
there's all kinds of different sizes of weddings. I mean, I haven't been too many in the States,
Gotta
but
adjust the camera.
okay, but there's like weddings that there's 100 people weddings, there's 20 people weddings, there's 1,000. Here in Israel, the average size wedding like is 300, 350
Oh,
people.
even more.
350, I think I would say is average. 200 is small, and
I think-
weddings can get up to 1,000 easily.
Easily if you don't.
Yeah,
Take
no, but
measures.
300 to 400 is normal. It's not more than that.
But-
500-600 is already big, but that's that brings up the big dilemma because basically you're two people, you're getting married. You think it's just you, right? Like it's your wedding. You should do what you want. But alas, lo and behold, there is this thing called Jewish parents
Oh no.
and Jewish family,
Oh my God.
and
Each has an opinion.
woe to you if you disappoint them.
For
And,
example,
no, I mean you
Like,
have like
each parent has the people he or she must invite. And
it's not just even he must invite. It's just family. There's big family. There's lots of cousins, parents' cousins.
because you guys are Moroccan, so
We're
there are lots
Moroccan.
of-
She's Yemenite, so those are big families,
Right.
generally speaking. And
like my family consists of 7 people.
yeah.
Yours is like 700.
I think
people.
just the family side of our guest list is like no joke, just first cousins, uncles and aunts, right? And like and nuclear family is over 200 people.
No.
Yeah. So that's just the family, and then we have like
Friends,
friends,
people you gotta invite, otherwise there.
Yeah, I
will
gotta speak
be-
to you about that, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna have space. No,
But
you
that's-
can come, but just don't bring up date. Just don't bring a date
You can come, bring the money, and leave.
and leave, and you can leave
That's
your
not a
date.
bad deal, actually. I take that deal for most weddings. It's not bad.
Yeah. Not
Um,
leave the money. I wouldn't want it. That's the worst part about weddings in Israel. It's
Yeah,
like
you pay.
in the States you have like you usually have a what is it called? I forgot what it's called. There's like you go online and you can buy them a gift.
They publish like
like
what
they
they'd like.
publish a list.
Oh, that's
so that
dreamy.
yeah, so that people you don't get 7 toasters
Oh.
and 4 sets of dishes.
It's wise.
So you have a
Americans figured it out.
someone comment. What is it called? Anyway, I don't remember. But you have that, and you don't bring money. And there's a whole scale of things. But in Israel, for our listeners, it's customary to bring like good old Jews
Money.
cash money.
A good friend, like an acquaintance, easily 350 shekels
An
per
acquaintance,
person.
not a good friend. Yeah,
acquaintance.
Like, that's the
He
minimum.
got worried.
yeah. I'm like, let's get our expectations aligned.
Oh my God! The
here.
look. It's for acquaintance. Yes, for acquaintance.
No. But
Don't-
seriously, like I'm a stickler for but also you better bring a lot more than that. No, I'm kidding. But
So if you're a couple, just for acquaintance, it's 700 shekels easily, and if it's good friend, it's much more.
Yeah.
And that's in dollars, like $100 minimum
yeah, it's like $100 minimum. I'm just telling,
per
like,
person.
honestly, let's get our our personal shit out of this because then
Okay.
it's gonna get uncomfortable.
Okay. I'll
But
bring you your
but
450
yes,
shekels. Don't
I
worry.
expect at least 2-3,000, but whatever. That's aside the point. But I think like seriously, like I just went to a friend's wedding. I hope he's not watching this. I think I left something like a friend from work,
Ah,
right? Which we're not
okay.
close. We've never
Yeah,
hung out
that's
privately,
not friend.
and it's like
Friend.
350, 400
Yeah.
shekels or something. And then yeah, and then family like so it's
But the other side is that it's so super expensive to produce a wedding for the couple.
yeah,
So most of that money goes to cover the
the
expenses,
cost.
which is the hall,
Yeah.
which can easily get to what,
Like
100,000 shekels,
70, 80, yeah, 100,000.
which is
Like on
like
the low
20,000
end, in the low
bucks.
end it's like 60, on the high end it could be 150,000.
And then you have the food, you
Yeah.
have the
Shekels. We're talking about shekels, guys. So
shekels, yeah.
60,000 is like
like,
18,000 bucks.
right. It
150,000.
can easily get
yeah.
to 30, 40,000.
Yeah.
And
So
then
there's this whole
yeah.
headache, man. It's just this whole like I just started talking to
Can you but you can't go alternative. If you have a family of 200 people plus let's say 50 friends each, let's say
so
we're
that's
going
the debate. Is that like okay, I could do just family and like 4 friends, 5 friends, I don't know.
how many
10
friends do you
10
have?
Yeah,
Let's-
really. I don't know if I could even find 5. But no, but seriously. Like 5 friends each, let's say, and their dates, so that's like 10 each, that's 20 all total, and then family just like the nuclear
core.
family and like grandparents and that's it.
Maybe
would
even
be-
some grandparents won't make it. Which
Yeah,
is
but the question is,
ideal.
do you want it like
Like
do
a
you
wedding.
want just like a 40 person,
nasty
50
joke.
person? I don't know what you said. I wasn't listening.
Okay.
And I'm glad I wasn't, judging from your reaction to your own joke. But
That was a good one though. Okay,
yeah.
so
But
listen later.
So like 50, 60 people, but then it's like, do you want to just have? And where do you do a wedding that's small? Like Israel's not Israel's not prepared for that
Yeah.
small of a wedding.
Like yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
good luck, man. You'll need it.
I
But
feel
congrats.
I feel like that is it's actually like a good part about the whole, right? It's like
go through
it's
hell
like
and
a
back
trial.
together.
Yeah. It's like a trial right at the beginning. Like
Yeah.
here is a ridiculously difficult task in which you have to please everybody except for yourselves and like not insult
And
anybody.
spend more money
and
than you
spend
ever had
a lot of
or ever
money,
will
yeah,
have.
and not and you know like and deal with the politics of like who pays for this and how much to pay for it and how
Right.
much and all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the finish line and then you're married. I think that's why so many couples get divorced. But
The seeds for the divorce are
planted
yeah
in the
in the
yeah.
marriage process. Wow. So congrats. So girls, bad news. I know it's a dark day for our female listeners.
Yeah. Yeah. But
No
I
more
mean, I've
hope.
basically been in a relationship this whole time. So they,
Yeah, but they kept their hopes up.
Yeah.
They even some of them, did some bad
some
things.
of our male listeners too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We're a pluralistic podcast.
Right.
So
right,
sorry,
right.
ladies
and some
and gents.
of our non-gendered listeners as well,
Yeah, that's true.
or bi-gender.
Maybe some of our non-gendered guests.
Right. And some of the
Past
pets of our
guests.
non-gender listeners. Anyway,
I'm not sure about that.
but the good news is I'm still available,
Yeah. Yeah.
but only for pets.
We need to have like a website for your
Yeah,
for
Naor
your
is still available.
singleness.
Is Naor still available.com?
It just has
Just
the answer and
no.
your phone number. Like if it's a yes, it has your phone number. No, it has like a number for a machine that just leaves a message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So congrats.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Many years of happiness.
Thank you.
And
And
yeah.
I'm expecting a big gift.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm expecting a big old baby.
Yeah, that's the the next naturally the next you get married to get everybody off your back about like get
Getting
married, and
then-
then you just
yeah.
get them like nagging
You
you
have
about
that
having a
old
kid.
Moroccan grandmother, right?
Yeah.
How did
She was the first one I told when I met
how old
Sharon.
is she? Or
Huh?
do we know how old is she? Even?
She's like 85. Like she doesn't
Between
really have,
85
like-
and 90.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, by the way, with just to explain with Moroccans and like a lot of people who made Aliyah to Israel from the North African and Arab countries, they don't have like an exact birthday.
Yeah.
They don't know their exact birthday.
Right.
But yeah. So anyway, she was the first one I told when I met Sharon. She was like when when it's like between the going on dates and dating like stages.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first one like that before I told my parents I was like, "Listen, you can calm down. I have a girlfriend." And she was like, "Oh my God, bless be you." And she like named all the rabbis that ever existed
Kapara.
and kapar alecha, my soul. Yeah. Um,
Nice.
but yeah. Okay. So anyway,
Anyway,
we can
enough
talk
about
about
Eitan.
yeah.
Let's talk about Eitan. No, just kidding. We have more Eitan subjects coming up, but before that, so we aired last week an episode that's called "Is Israel a socialist or a capitalist country?"
Yeah.
with Dr. Ellie
Ellie
Cook,
Cook.
and actually it got many ricochets from it.
Really?
Yeah, I got people wrote me like, and also on Twitter, uh, someone said, "Oh, we're live in the homepage of Arutz Sheva, IsraelNationalNews.com." That's
Oh,
pretty
amazing.
cool.
Amazing. Guys, go to Facebook. If you're on the homepage, go to Facebook. Check us out on
So,
the Facebook page and comment.
so on Twitter, someone wrote us. Let's see if we find it. Um, uh, 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 uh. Someone wrote Peleg. I don't know if it's your Peleg, but he said, "I have enjoyed your podcasts to date and listen
Regularly.
religiously.
Religiously.
But this one was ridiculous. Some of your questions and assertions just amazed me. You came across as so out of touch with the issues of inequality." And then I
Okay.
wrote him like, do you want to elaborate? And then we can read it. And then he disappeared. So Peleg, we await your comment. And then someone else wrote me yesterday and started to argue with me on WhatsApp. And he was like, he said essentially that we missed the whole point of, first of all, that there is competition in the kupot cholim. How do you say it in English?
In the healthcare provider
Right, and
providers.
that also we completely ignore the fact that that their NGOs are a good alternative to private market, but they are still better than when the state controls a market. So
It's like an
NGOs
in
are a good,
between.
yeah. For example, the whole ambulance system in Israel is run by an NGO, and he was like, "Look, it doesn't cost us anything, essentially. Anybody can make an NGO that provides this service, and the NGOs can compete, and you get a good service. So that's a good alternative." And so essentially, what he said that
But
when
what are the NGOs competing for? They're non for profits.
that's
I
a
mean,
good
like,
question.
I don't understand how you can compete.
They're all corrupt, I guess.
No, it's not about corruption. Forget about like I think corruption is like a side effect of what
No, they
happens when
compete
you
because
don't have the proper incentives in place that are merit based.
a good NGO, the top of the good NGO, they make good salaries, right? Like the CEO of an NGO in Israel makes like 12, 13, $14,000 a month,
Okay.
which is ridiculous sometimes because sometimes you have these NGOs that are for the poor, right, to feed the
Yeah.
poor, and then you look at the website and you see the CEO makes like 40,000 shekels
But I
a
still
month.
don't understand how they're competing because they're competing because the CEO cares to get a good salary. Like he cares to keep his job
Yeah.
in place. Yeah, I mean,
But what his point was, the whole when we talked in the episode about the health system, because we talked there that I said, or you said, that the health system in Israel is completely run by the state and that it should be privatized essentially. And he said that we dug a hole to ourselves when we said that, because in fact there's a lot of competition here in the health care, for example, and on the other hand, in America, you see what happens when it's
when it's
completely
privatized.
private. Yeah.
So I think first of all, it's important to note that in the US there's more public spending per capita than in Israel. So if the idea is that the more you spend publicly on healthcare per capita, then you get better results, then that doesn't really match up to the stats because the United States they spend like over $4,000 per capita on healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
whereas in Israel it's somewhere around $2,000, $2,500. So it's not quite half, but almost half here. So if you're going to say, Israel, the healthcare system is so much better than the United States, it's because it's public. I mean, we're spending less per capita on meaning government is spending less money per person here. And the other thing is, I think the United States and Israel are both doing really well in healthcare, and
People die in the street in
in other countries.
no
I
in
mean,
America also, like people
well,
without.
yeah,
You
but
know,
people die in the streets
a
everywhere.
friend of mine was on a trip now in America, and he had insurance, but he got something in his eye.
Yeah.
He went to the hospital in Texas, I think, or Nevada, and they said like, we can take care of it, but if you want to be hospitalized, it's $7,000.
What? He had something in the eye. They said we can take care of it, but it's going to cost you $7,000
they gave him an alternative. They said we can try and treat it now without being
without you being hospitalized.
hospitalized. Yeah, and this will cost so and so. I don't know, a few $100s. Okay, but for the matter of argument, if he had to be hospitalized, it'll be $7,000 a day or
So
something.
I don't understand the idea that healthcare. I mean, basically, I think the idea of healthcare, universal healthcare, and socialized healthcare is predicated on the fact that, like, this idea that healthcare is a basic human right, right? Because, like, you can't kill someone, you can't steal their property.
No,
It's
they say
basic. They're basic
it's
human rights to be able to live, to be able to pursue happiness,
society
to
want
be able
to give
to be able
care.
no to be able to pursue happiness, to be able to own property. These are basic human rights. That's why people can't steal from you. And it's this. I mean, more extreme is like it's a basic human right to have income, right? And then you see crazy ideas like universal basic income. But I think that's the idea behind healthcare. It's the basic human right to have healthcare.
Okay.
I don't understand that. I don't understand where you get this idea that it is a basic human right to have
Well, let's say
any
it's
kind of
not
health care.
basic
Like,
human right.
if
Let's
I have
say-
a headache, can I just, and I know where people are going to go, whoa, this is why you have to get a bit
How are
more
they gonna
and this is where you have to get a bit more nuanced, and you have to split healthcare up into different categories and stuff. But if I have a headache, I think we can all agree that it's not my basic human right to be able to get a Tylenol. Like, I can't just go into a pharmacy and say, give me Tylenol, and expect to have it. I mean, like, that's not a basic human right.
But don't you have an interest as a citizen that
Everybody
basic
won't have headaches?
services, healthcare services wouldn't cost $7,000 random, or like random numbers? You do have
I
this
do have an interest, and I think that the best way to make sure to secure the fact that that interest is like met is to have a free market take care of it, because I think that it does it in the best way. But I don't think that it's a basic human right. I think that, okay, there's room to talk when you're talking about like terminal illnesses and like immediate care, right? Like ICU, like, you need care right now. You come into the hospital with a bullet wound, but that's not most of what healthcare is going on. It's not like to pay for people who are about to die in 5 minutes, and no one's turned away. I mean, these are like myths, where someone walks in with a bullet wound and they're
No,
like,
but they can end up
sorry,
with
you don't have
they
insurance.
they can end up with huge debt.
They can end up with huge debt, yes. But their life will be saved. And then it is on them to make sure that they can pay for the fact that their life was saved, was granted to them.
But in Israel,
Like, I don't understand.
In
So
Israel,
you go out, you get shot. I mean, I'm not saying that, it's your choice, but you got shot, and then it's just like, I don't understand that you just get care.
I don't know. In Israel, you get care. You get care, and you don't end up being bankrupt, which is not that bad, I guess, for most people. Most people would
So again,
want
I
that.
think there's room to talk about like immediate care and what's provided in those cases. But I think that most of the time people are encountering the healthcare system not in those situations.
Okay, but let's talk. Okay, let's go back to the episode, because the thing is, guys, EYTAN actually did research. Very
For
impressive.
once.
For
For
once in his
my
life. Yeah. And you
No,
came up with
I mainly was upset about the inequality stuff. Like I don't get the whole idea that that there's like rampant inequality in the United States and it's awful and like first of all I don't understand the like why people are upset about inequality at all. I don't see how that's a uh, a measure of success. Like, do we want ever that? Because presume like if inequality is a measure of success, then presumably the ideal situation would be perfect equality, right? So we want everybody to be equal,
regardless of their
regardless of whatever,
qualities.
regardless of anything. We want everybody to have exactly the same amount of money. I mean, I don't think that's right. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I guess not.
But I just don't understand, like, what does it matter how much richer the rich guy is than the poor guy if the poor guy is actually doing well?
And if he has the opportunities to
Yeah.
enrich himself.
I think then that's the difference between a quality of opportunity and quality of outcome.
So give us some data.
So we talked a bit about like the fact is that this whole idea of like the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer is just false. Like I think the numbers are that 32%. Sorry, from 2000 to 2015, the poorest quintile, so like the poorest fifth of the United States, people who were the poorest, had an increase of 32% in their income. So if you take the poorest fifth of people in the United States, poorest 20% in 2000, and now you take the poor, and this is factoring obviously inflation and all that. You take the poorest 20% of people in 2015, those two have a 32% difference, meaning the people in 2015 are 32% richer than the people in 2000.
Is it safe to say it's the biggest jump?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the biggest jump, but it's huge. And you definitely don't
So
probably
what do you
have
deduce
these.
from that?
And there's more than that. What was staggering, and I told Dr. Ellie Cook, and I don't understand why, some people think that we are misinformed on this topic. But what's more staggering is that since 1979, so 1980, there's an 80% increase. So like since the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s until 2015, and again, factoring in
poorest
inflation,
almost doubled.
talking about the same dollars, almost doubled meaning their life is twice as good now. Almost.
So it was a shitty life, and now it's twice
shitty. No, but that's what I'm saying. That's the idea. You hear poor, so you're like, oh, their life is shitty. But no, the poorest people in a nation can have a good life if the nation is doing really well. And then, like, you have to
They can have a better life.
They can have a great life. No, I don't understand. If the poorest people in the nation are able to buy themselves food every day of the week, go on vacation, I don't know, once a year, let's say. I'm not saying this is the situation in the United States, but I'm saying if that is the situation, they can buy themselves food, they're secure, they can afford health care, and they can go on vacation. Is that a bad life just because some guy lives in the penthouse of some skyscraper and has, I don't know,
Okay.
a billion times more money?
Anything else there from your research?
Yeah, so let's
But
go
the
over
data,
a few
the
other
data,
things.
The data is from
From the Congressional Budget Office, which is
Okay.
basically like the one source that has probably the best information about income in the United
These
States.
are hardcore numbers.
Yeah, the Congressional Budget Office is the one that decides on budgeting based on income, and the United States has the best stats on income in the
Okay.
United States. I mean, they're the ones they need to have the best stats. What are we getting? Jesus Christ loves you. I got one.
Oh my God. Dina Goralnik Rafen says.
Oh, Dina. I know Dina.
She says, Mr. A, that's you, I guess, Eitan.
Yes.
My heart is beating pretty fast. So excited. Photos of Eitan running through my mind. Mazel tov, my friend.
Dina was my. She was like the head counselor, but it's not really. She was more of like a mother figure for all of our Garin when we first made Aliyah to Israel.
Oh,
So we lived on a
that's nice.
kibbutz, and she was kind of like our mom.
So
And,
she means it in a genuine way, not in a
Yeah.
stalker way.
No. Thanks, Dina. I
That's
love
nice.
you.
And
That's amazing.
and Gabrielle Macklin writes, in North America, it takes almost a year or more to plan a wedding.
Oh man. Well,
So you had more numbers for
so
us.
yeah, so one of the other interesting things I saw was that 84% of Americans make more than their parents. The highest percentage is in the bottom quintile, meaning average of all Americans, it's 84%, but I think that is actually much higher in the bottom quintile. So most, like the vast majority of Americans, poorest Americans, the poorest 20% again, make more than their parents did. So this idea, this is one of the craziest things. This
Yeah.
idea of like we are the 99%, right? Occupy Wall Street. This idea that there's 1% that's static and 99% that's just suffering is just ridiculous. There's crazy income mobility in the United States. And that is what was like amazing to me. So this is one thing I found. For at least 1 year, 12% of Americans will find themselves in that top 1%. So 12%, that top 1% that everybody's like, we are the 99. Well, 12% of you are going to be that 1% for at least a year. 39% in the top 5. So if you're yelling, okay, never mind, we're the 95%, even a bigger chunk, 39% of you are going to be in the top 5%. 56% of Americans are going to be in the top 10% for a year in their life. So meaning like a huge chunk of Americans that are, in the bottom 90% are actually, and this, you can't just say, oh, well, those are all that. No, it's 56%. So some of them, might be actually really poor, will end up getting into the top 10% of income for at least a year. And the same is true the opposite. That's what's like, it's not
Yeah,
like
you can go bankrupt.
Exactly. 54% of Americans will experience at least near poverty in their lifetime. And I think that, we're talking a lot about America here and we're two nice Jewish boys but I think this just goes to show how if there's more of a free market and you open things up, there's this idea that there's no income mobility. Like people can move up and down and a lot of people move down and it's sad.
I think it's also relevant to Israel. I wanted to read something that a friend posted today.
Yeah.
And it's Hebrew. I'll translate it. It's a friend. He's called Jonathan Bold. Okay, and he wrote the following, guys. This is summing up 2019. For the year is about to end, and you will be seeing a lot of yearly summaries. But here's a headline that you won't read anywhere, except for the New York Times, where I got this info from. 2019 was the best year in the history of mankind. New York Times, who would have thought, right? 1,000 people a day, 1,000 people a day got access to running water in 2019. Sorry. Yeah. And it got all messed up, but like hundreds of thousands got access to electricity, to the internet. It got all mixed up. Wait, let me.
Hundreds of thousands were probably pulled out of poverty.
Yeah.
And,
wait, I gotta find it on Facebook because I printed it wrong. Yeah. Where?
No, but I think that idea, it goes exactly to the same thing.
Here it is. So 200,000 new people got access to running water. 375,000 people a day in 2019 got access to electricity, and 650,000 people every day got access to the internet. Every day. Extreme poverty.
That's crazy. 650,000 people a day. That's half a million. So
every
like
day.
something like 150 million over the year, 180 million.
Extreme poverty, which is defined somewhat people who live for less than $2 a day.
Yeah.
Dropped from 41% in the 80s of the entire population to less than 10% today. Yeah. Every day in the last 10 years, 170,000 people got out of the poverty.
170,000 people a day.
Every day got out of the extreme poverty definition. And here's another interesting fact. In 1950, 27% of the people who were born didn't reach the age of 15. It's a whole it's in 1950, so it's just a few decades ago. Okay,
Less than 100 years ago.
almost 30% of the population never reached the age of 15. Today, it's 4%. 4%.
4%? And
Yeah.
in 1950 it was?
27%.
27.
So never in the history of mankind
crazy.
so many kids reached adulthood. So if you need to choose from the entire history which year you should get born in, so 2019, it's a no-brainer.
You know, and I'm sure 2020 is going to be better. Unless
Pretty cool,
a
huh?
world war breaks out.
And we all die.
No, that is that's amazing, man.
Right?
And it like, honestly, it brings me back to that. You remember that here in Israel, there was a web series made by the kind of NPR, not NPR, PBS of Israel, like the
Chinuchi.
Israel Public Broadcasting Corporation,
Ah,
Khan, and it was called YYY. It was all about Generation Y. And at one of the episodes, the host of the show made the comment. You remember this?
No?
He basically said that the realization he was talking about actually the housing market in Israel. And he said that the realization he came to at the end of the episode was that
Our parents had it better.
No, that we were born in the wrong decade. And so I remember I wrote to him and I asked him, what decade would you rather be born in? And he did this Q&A sesh. And his answer was just completely dodge the subject. He said, I don't know if you're trying to make an insult here, but what I actually meant was, and it's like, I don't understand how you can understand that differently. We were born in the wrong decade. Like, are you saying that we could be born in a future decade, which would be better? Yes, possibly. But if you look in the past, life is better than ever. And, you know, we're going to have an episode. We're recording an episode soon, guys, with about climate change.
Oh, yeah.
So look forward to that. But it's the same shit, man.
Yeah.
It's like instead of embracing the freedom that we have and using it to make the best of our lives, it seems like people are more and more interested in, a lot of people at least, in complaining.
That's
And bitching.
Generation Y for you.
That's generation.
So-
No, you know, screw that, man. That's also one of the things.
Hey, whoa,
What?
whoa. No cussing.
No cussing. Screw that is not a.
No, it's
not a cuss word.
It's borderline.
It's like if it's PG-13. But my point is that that's also like another thing. It's like I don't want to try and subscribe a whole generation to or ascribe a whole one attribute to an entire generation. We're, a billion people. It's not-
Okay. So,
anyway, so what's next on the
2019
lineup?
was a great year for the podcast. Just some stats to share with you guys. In 2018, we had about 130,000 downloads total. In 2019, almost 180,000. So,
Nice.
yeah, 50,000 more downloads. So that's great. And our top cities, our top countries is Israel. First of all, United States is the biggest country where people listen to us. And then
USA.
and then Israel and
America.
Canada. And
Okay, nice.
our most popular cities are Tel Aviv, Los Angeles, and New York.
Hey.
Shout out to Los Angeles and New York. And so, yeah, it's been a great year for the podcast.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we've actually gone on YouTube this year and on Twitter.
We've got amazing guests.
Yeah.
And so thanks for listening. And
Thank
stuff.
you guys. Really, thank you. Your listening and your support and
It means a lot.
It means everything to us. It really is what keeps us going. So keep on.
And thank you to
Keep it on.
our collaborators,
Yeah.
the Jewish Journal.
We
and
also have a new
Sheva.
collaboration this year with Arut Sheva, Israel National News, which is amazing.
Yeah, so we're really grateful.
a whole new base of listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I enjoyed most about this last year and about our guest lineup, I think, is the diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate a lot of the times when diversity comes up in different contexts, it's like a controversial word. But I think we chose to make this diverse, and that's what's nice. And we had kind of guests from like every side of the spectrum,
Right.
From
95-year-old broadcaster
to
to
a
a transgender.
transgender religious woman to a non-binary woman to or non-binary person
Mm-hmm.
to the CEO of Breaking the Silence,
Mm-hmm.
which is a highly controversial left-wing um, organization here that
Everything we had.
organizes tours in the West Bank,
Right.
and we've had right-wing people and members of
Mm-hmm.
Knesset. So it was like as because I think 2018 was also really diverse, but I think this year
Yeah. We
we
exploded.
broke the record,
Cool.
which was awesome.
So, but a lot of good guests coming up.
Yeah.
Here's an email a listener wrote us.
All right.
Now, Oren, this is from Steven from Texas. Now, Oren Eitan, listening to this podcast interview with David Abutbol about his contact with. Maybe you read it.
All right.
Yeah, better.
Naor and Eitan, listening to this podcast interview with David Abitbol, I think he said, about his
Oh God.
about his contact with Megan
It's live,
Phelps
guys,
Roger is a reminder that the love of God is what always sways the heart, mind, and soul of the individual to the way of God and Christ and not God's judgment. Listening to your podcast as a Gentile believer in Christ was very helpful in understanding the nutty thinking of the Phelps family toward people who do not agree with their interpretation of the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. The off-the-wall thinking of the Phelps family is a reminder of the Satmar sect of Judaism and Neturei Karta, who do not believe in the existence of the nation of Israel. This statement is in no way comparing the Phelps family, Satmar and Neturei Karta, as alike in their thinking, but when one looks objectively at the three groups, it is a reflection that any belief system that is or is not based on the Bible shows a small group takes their group's views to an extreme that does not reflect reality before the everyday people. Keep up the great work on the podcast and interview people and topics. Thank you. Shalom from Texas, Stephen. Thank you so much,
nice.
Stephen. Yeah, that's
It's a
awesome.
nice letter.
That's really awesome. Guys, we really enjoy getting
Yeah.
letters and mail and comments and stuff
And
from you
reviews
guys.
on iTunes.
And reviews.
Let's read the review on iTunes. Oh God. You
Yeah,
guys
we got a
gotta
really,
listen.
really nice review on iTunes.
Oh, that's so nice.
But it's
Okay.
so nice. I really like this because it kind of speaks exactly what I was saying. Like we like having people from different views to kind of share. That's what this podcast
we like
is
Texans
about. We like Texas. We love Texas.
and Texans.
God save Texas and Texans. But I think that's what like 2NJB is all about. It's about getting people to hear everybody and everything. It's all about listening.
And here's a comment, guys. If you listen on iTunes on Apple Podcasts, you gotta go to the review section and leave us a review. It can be
Yeah.
a horrible one, but it can also be a good one.
Yeah.
And here's one that
If you really hate us, spill your guts.
here's a nice one.
Legitimately have been hooked for the last 2 weeks. This podcast is amazing. I'm an American Zionist teenager, writes Eden Jan. Super interested in Israeli life and everything associated with it. However, I couldn't find anything like it. Eventually, I landed on these guys speaking about everything from Israeli tech to breaking the silence, and I'm hooked. These guys are great podcast managers and amazing at interviewing. They're also legitimately coolest guys out there. Side note, my mother agrees. Eitan and Naor, I thank you for taking your free time out and leading this. I personally am a huge fan, and I look forward to the future recordings. Thank you so much, Eden.
cool.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so
Wow.
much.
2019's been a good year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we can wrap things up. Like we didn't talk about you want to shave your head.
I really want to shave my head.
What do you think, guys? Let's do a little
yeah.
poll. I'll post a poll later on our Facebook page.
Well, I shaved my beard this time. It's not because like I tried and I missed. It's just that I shaved my beard. So I don't think I could shave my head quite yet because I don't want to be like too hairless because then I'll look like an egg.
No, yeah.
But I'm gonna let my beard grow out a bit, and then I think I'm gonna go buzz cut first, really short, and then go all the way.
But then you gotta shave it daily, right? And take care, like.
so
it
no, you can
takes
let it
maintenance.
grow out a little bit, but yeah, like on a,
Like in the
on
shower,
a
you gotta-
weekly basis, I think.
No.
No, because you'll have a little bit of it's like a beard with like stubble. You have a bit of stubble on your head.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, man.
I'm not sure. You gotta talk to an expert.
Who's an expert? Let's
gotta-
list a bunch of bald people now.
Boldness advisors or
Yeah.
specialists and
Yeah.
coaches.
The only
Okay.
one that comes to mind
I
right now is
told
Effie Nave.
he has a good bald head.
Yes.
But I told Ethan that I think he can easily wait a year or two because from that angle it still looks decent, I think.
Now you're exposing the reason, man. I wasn't prepared to talk about my
Ah, okay.
baldness. Guys, I'm going bald, so that's
Yeah,
I wouldn't choose to shave my head otherwise. I
yeah.
wish I had a full head of hair.
No able man
But
would.
I got my
Right.
mom's side of the genes
Mm.
and I'm going bald. It's a sad day. Losing your hair, I'd rather lose an arm.
But it brings me to the internal
No, I wouldn't.
dilemma, right?
Yeah.
What's better, be bald and tall or short and with great hair?
So we're saying who's better, basically,
Yeah.
me or you?
Exactly.
I would have to say me. That's objectively speaking.
No, but
though.
for
I'm not,
girls, for girls, what do they prefer?
me. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Talk to me after I shave my head. I'll
Okay.
probably be less confident. All right, guys. So
Okay,
we're
so
gonna
that's
wrap
it.
things up.
Yeah.
2019. This is
Have
it was
a
a great year.
Yeah, it's not a Jewish year.
Eh.
It's a
Do you know the Jewish year?
no 5,600.
No, even in like Hebrew, you don't know Tashaz. Tashaz.
Who knows?
Tashag.
But
Yeah, I'm not sure what the Jewish year
And do
is.
you have plans for the Sylvester?
Yeah, I'm going to sleep at 11:30.
Oh, me too. Yes.
Yeah.
Sleeping
We're
on the
so old.
Sylvester.
No, I'm kidding. I'm going to a crazy New Year's party where I'm going to drink my ass off and then go streaking through the streets of Tel Aviv.
No.
No, no. The second I hit 30 and it was legitimate to go to sleep before 12, the clock strikes 12. I'm like, I'm milking
joining
this
this
for all it's
club.
worth. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, before we go, we have a collaboration with the Jewish Journal. They have great podcasts, columns, content. Check them out at jewishjournal.com. And we also collaborate with israelnationalnews.com, which is Arutz Sheva.
Arutz Sheva, guys, we're on their website, israelnationalnews.com, and the Jewish Journal.
No, I said it already.
Ah, okay.
But
I'm sorry, I
Arutz
wasn't
Sheva,
listening.
yeah, Arutz Sheva has also great content
Yes.
daily. Like the website is loaded with content in
Yeah.
English.
Yeah, check them out.
Super interesting.
And we're also on their Facebook page when we go
Yeah.
live.
So that's that. Also, guys, we accept donations.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So if
we
you
do this
want
on our free
to
time.
start 2020 with a blessing
Yes.
from the Almighty Himself,
You can donate high
Chai thousands.
18000 shekels.
Yeah.
The more zeros you add behind it, the more
or
high it
even
is.
nines are even better.
Yeah.
So yeah, go to twingb.com/donate it. Help us out.
Yeah.
And that's it. And go to YouTube and subscribe. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.